Hello, Jen here, and I have a layout for you for the Wild Whisper design team. This week I am digging into my Sassy Since Birth stash. I have been waiting so patiently to open this all up and play with it. It is such a fun collection. I really love it. I definitely love all the kind of sass that's involved. There's lots of like really kind of snarky and cute comments, but you could totally use this for a non-sassy layout if you wanted. I do have an unboxing, so you can check it out if you want to see a bit more of a close-up of what the cards and the papers and everything look like. But you can see how there are lots of quotes and different sayings on at least one side of each card and papers. But when you flip them over, there's lots of just really fun bold patterns and these super fun bright colors. Don't they kind of remind you of like the late 80s, early 90s? I'm pretty sure that my mom probably dressed me in a lot of these colors, probably all together, like a windbreaker. Yes, I'm feeling very nostalgic with this collection. And yeah, it's just really fun. So I decided to start with this background paper because I like the black and white, and then it just has those little pops of color. This is the bonus pattern that is on the back of the main page that you get when you buy the paper packs. So remember to look on the back of those for your bonus pattern. And I just like that it kind of pulls in all of the colors. And because I didn't quite know what I wanted to do when I first started, it's just nice to have the option when you have all of the colors represented in the background paper or in at least one piece of paper in your layout. Then it kind of gives you permission to pull in all of those colors with your embellishments and stuff. I mean, there's no rules in scrapbooking, but that's kind of how my brain works. So I decided to go ahead and pull out that paper, and I used some gesso and kind of put that down in that bottom left-hand corner. And then using the same colors from the collection, I'm just blowing some paint splatters with my straw. So you can see how easy this is. I put the gesso down so that the paint would kind of show up a little bit clearer. It just kind of pushes that pattern into the back a little bit, but you can see even when it gets onto the paper where there is no gesso, these paints are so bright that they work really well. It just makes it a little less busy, I think, when you have the gesso there. And the picture that I decided to pick is one of my youngest son, because earlier on the day that I did this, right before I started scrapbooking, he announced to all of us that he is actually my sassiest child. He decided to claim that title of sassiest child in our family, and I think he might actually be right, because he's kind of that like sneaky sassy child where he's quiet a lot of the time. So when he is sassy, when he does have these like super funny, witty, hilarious remarks that he has and like gives us a little bit of attitude, we don't always expect it. So it's kind of on point, and it really hits home. It's very predictable from the 15-year-old teenage girl. It's less predictable from my cute little baby. So I mean, he's not a baby anymore, he's 8, but you know what I mean. So I decided, yeah, he's probably right, and I picked a picture of him. He is wearing a mustache, and he is eating a big bowl of spaghetti and holding a gelato. We were having lunch at Eastside Mario's, and I thought it was just a really funny picture and kind of a good snapshot of his personality. And so yeah, he's the king of sass in our family. And so I just wanted this to be really playful, because that's kind of the type of sassy that he is. How many times am I going to say sassy in this voiceover? But that's kind of his personality. It's just really fun, really playful. So I thought that these kind of color bursts coming out from behind my photo cluster would just be a really fun way to bring in a lot of color and make this kind of a light-hearted layout. I was also inspired by the pattern that you actually see in this collection that has that feel of like a burst of color. You can see it on that pink card. It kind of looks like swipes of color with a paintbrush, and each swipe is several different colors, I guess you could say, but it kind of also reminded me of that technique of just, blowing the splatter with the straw. So there you go. And it looks really good, don't you think? Though the color palette that I'm using, or the watercolor palette that I'm using, is a mixture of Prima colors. I think it's the Tropical collection from Prima, and some Jane Davenport, which might also have been called Tropical. It was her Brights, whatever that collection was called. And so they're really bright and vibrant, and the key is that after you do one color, you want to let it mostly dry. I did let a few of the little drops stay wet so that the colors would mix, and I would get some of that orange and green, which is also in the collection. But I wanted the colors to be mostly dry before adding the next one, so that they just stayed true to themselves and nice and vibrant. And then I went to the card pack to do all of my layering. So I have that pink card. It has the bursts in it, and I just really like that pink. And it also gave me some lines if I wanted to do some journaling. And then that yellow card again has that same burst pattern. There's an orange card and a green card, and I matted my photo with another green pattern. And then here you can see these bursts are actually from the ephemera pack, so I decided to put those in there too. They almost give your eye a bit of a break from the busyness of the background, so that it kind of brings the focus into the picture. And these little phrases also come from the ephemera pack, and I just thought that they were kind of cute. I can't remember what the third one says, but one says uniquely you, and the other one says so sassy. And then I also have this little element here that says sassy since birth, so I decided to kind of pop that up, and it brings a little bit of black and white and kind of that bold black into my picture cluster. And now here I decided not to do any journaling down where the picture was, because I felt like it was just really busy with the patterns and the paint and everything. But I did want to have just a touch of journaling to kind of talk about how it was funny that he commented that he was the sassiest kid. So I had this other card that I had planned to use in my layers because it's a little bit more of a bold yellow, and it says whatever at the top, which I thought was kind of funny because his attitude and his demeanor, it comes so naturally to him that I thought the whatever was kind of a good little, I don't know, word to go along with it. So it made a good spot for some journaling, and it kind of just, I don't know, it just brings another kind of bold color to the layout and gave me an opportunity to have a little embellishment cluster up in that top corner. So I did cut one of those little color bursts in half and decided to use the second half right here. And I'm just going to try to repeat a lot of the colors and the patterns up in this little cluster. I'm going to cut some of the white border off though, because the way that I wanted it to fit, it was covering up one of the letters. And then that can go right there. I don't normally put two clusters so close together without one of them touching one of the sides of the paper. So this is kind of different for me, but it's also a little bit playful, I think, too. So it kind of worked with the layout and how the layout feels. And so here you can see all those little offcuts of paper that I had from the green pattern that I matted the photo with, and these little pieces of orange that I cut from around that larger orange mat where the photo is. I just needed something pink. So I decided to go with this Ooh People, which in hindsight, I wish I hadn't because it would probably work really good for a COVID layout, but that's okay. It comes up a couple other times in the collection as well. And then, of course, to finish it off, I have to scatter my sequins. So those are Child at Heart sequins, and they just happen to match this collection perfectly. And that's it. That is my layout for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can leave them for me down below. And you can use my discount code DTGen at checkout to get 10% off of your next purchase at Wild Whisper. Until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.